Oh, well. Hey, Coach, I'll just start real quick. Before we go to the recruits, just tell us a little bit about Jaden Lars Woodby. It looks like you landed a pretty big fish there.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think we all are. We've watched the portal very closely, and truthfully, Rich, are we going to live in the portal? No. We want to recruit high school players and develop them and grow with them and build a culture through them. And we want to be very selective with who we bring in the portal. And he was one guy that we watched his tape, studied it really hard, and we had a bunch of guys on staff who knew him from recruiting him at other places. And just honestly, the recommendations and what people had to say about him on and off the field were through the roof. And that combined with his film, I'm really excited. He's a smart kid. He's a leader. He does things the right way. And he's a really good football player. He loves the game. He's very serious about it. He's a tough kid. And he can help us out in a lot of ways. So I'm really excited to get a chance to work with him. And I know our whole entire staff and team will be as well. I think he'll be a leader for us. I think he'll fit in great with the culture that has started to be built. And I can't say enough about how excited we are that he chose to come, because he had a lot of options, Rich. He was, going around and visiting a lot of schools from a lot of different conferences, and I'm just happy that he chose us.
Just a quick follow. Was he on Ohio State's radar, and did you have any past connections with him?
Coach Tern actually did. I was in the NFL at the time when he was coming out. Coach Tern had recruited him pretty hard. I believe, Rich, he committed to Ohio State. And then he decommitted last second and went to Florida State, where, he was a freshman All-American and one of the better freshmen in the ACC. And Matt Turin had a really good relationship with him. And Matt was really a huge reason, I do believe, that we were able to connect with him early on.
We'll go next to Kevin.
Hey, Coach. How you doing?
Good, Kevin. How you doing?
Good. Thanks. So kind of a two-parter. First of all, high school football is back in Massachusetts, starting in about 3 weeks. Obviously, you don't know if you can go to games, but just how happy are you guys to at least have film, on some guys around here now, and or continue to film? And then along those lines, the CAA teams UNH, URI, and Maine are going to be playing in a few weeks as well. I'm just curious if those programs have reached out to you guys to see how you handled things in this past season, because obviously they're going to go through it now in a much different way.
Well, one with the high schools, I'm thrilled for the players first and the coaches. I know they've waited a long time to play. We've certainly talked to a bunch of prospects who have been really excited to get back on the field and play football. The kids that I'm really most excited for are those guys who maybe got overlooked because, like I said before, they weren't big enough, or maybe they just grew or finally got the chance to win a starting position, and now they get to go out and play and put out film with potential for them to get a scholarship and go play football in college. And just for those seniors to have the ability to play in their senior year of high school and play together, which I mentioned to you guys before, Kevin, some of my greatest memories are just playing senior year with the guys you grew up with. So I'm thrilled for them and the coaches, and I'm just really excited to, if we can't watch them in person, get the film and really take a good look at those guys who deserve it. I'm excited for the CAA coaches who also have really not had a chance to play. No one's reached out to me. I'm sure they've got good protocols and they're on top of everything, but I've not talked to any of them.
We'll go next to AJ.
Hey, Coach. Now you got players back with this extra year of eligibilities. Can you talk a little bit about some of the players that are returning, what that means to your program, and how you're managing the roster?
Yeah. This year, the NCAA said it really didn't count for a year of eligibility. And, as you know, AJ, the only guys that we're losing, if you think about at least defensively off the top of my head, we're losing Max and Isaiah and Luke Beckett. And then, obviously Hunter's the big one on offense, and there's some other guys that won't be with us, but it gives guys like Zion and Alec and Ben. I know Ben will probably start more games here than anybody in the history of Boston college football because of the extra year. And we're really excited about that. Booz is going to be back with us. We had a bunch of guys, AJ, who had the opportunity to go to the NFL. A guy like Zion, who chose to come back and be with his teammates and try to up his draft stock and trust in Coach Applebaum and Coach Signetti to get better and possibly be, one of the top guys taken off the board. Same with Alec. And I can't tell you how excited we are about both of those guys. I already mentioned Ben, to get those guys back. And it goes on, there's other guys that I'm not mentioning just off the top of my head, but excited because there's a lot of leadership that's going to be back on this team. And there's certainly going to be some that needs to be created. And I'm sure you'll see it all over college football. A lot of guys back for that extra season. So we're fortunate to get that. I'm excited about it. I love the guys on the team, as you know, and I'm excited to get a chance to coach a lot of them again.
We'll go next to Trevor.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Good. Trevor, what's up?
Not too much. So I'm curious just what your last couple months have been like. Obviously, some downtime for everyone around the world. Just what have you done to enjoy it and spend time with your family? And then just what's been like football-wise, looking back and looking forward?
Yeah, the last time I talked to you guys, after that, we kind of tidied some things up recruiting-wise and gave the staff some time off to be with their family. Truthfully, I didn't go anywhere. Spent most of the time in my house with my family. Wanted to be safe with COVID still going on. I wish I was able to travel and get around and see family and maybe get somewhere on a vacation, but I didn't. Being with my family was awesome. I got to spend a ton of time with them, a ton of time with the kids and my wife, and I kind of got to refresh. And after about a week or two, I was tired, and I didn't realize how tired I was, Trevor. I started noticing it when I was home, and I was probably as tired as I've been because kind of the adrenaline stops. And it did, and it hit me pretty hard. So I rested up, and then after about a week or so, I started to feel great again. Like I couldn't wait to get back to work. And I'm excited. I feel re-energized. Just the excitement of being around our players again started to build up more and more. We came back to work after the new year. The guys weren't allowed here yet because they were still, on vacation. Something just closed on me? Did it cancel on your end, Jay?
No, looks good on my end.
Can you guys hear me and see me?
Well, good.
Hold on. My whole thing is shut down. All right. I got it back. Sorry, Rich. That should be fine. So the staff came back and we watched cut-ups in the morning. We recruited in the afternoons, and we've just been going at it full speed ahead. And our players finally came back. And after going through testing protocols and taking some time to make sure everybody was healthy and safe, they started lifting with Coach Matus. And, we can't do much with them right now, but, just walking around and seeing them has been awesome. And I mean, the time off was needed, Trevor, because I didn't realize how tired, at least I was, and I'm sure the staff felt the same way. But now to be around the guys again has been really exciting, and hopefully we get a full off season with them because we really didn't have that,
We'll go back to Rich.
Hey, Coach, are any of the incoming freshmen already on campus, January enrollees? If so, who are they? And what kind of thing do you have set up to integrate them into academics and athletics?
Yeah, we got about 12 of them.
12 in January?
Yeah, Rich. We got J-Bomb. That's right. 12, right? Yeah, we got 12. 12 guys, Rich, ready to roll, man. How about that? We're getting them acclimated to school. And that's number one. What it looks like from everything, how to get their books, and these guys should still be in high school. So we're doing it all for them. Trying to show them what our culture has been built on over the year and what we believe in, so they know what they're stepping into. Easing them into the weightlifting program, talking about some of our traditions, and just try to get them ready for lifting, ready for spring ball, but most importantly, make sure they're doing a good job in school, starting strong. We got 12 early enrollees plus the incoming transfers. So I think you'll see the competition that I talked about, guys pushing guys to get better every single day, whether it's in the weight room or on the football field in the spring. But we got a lot of guys here, Rich.
And with the older guys coming back, does this give you some leeway to develop these kids in case of red shirts or having them sit out the freshman year and building them up that way?
Yeah. Well, the first thing, Rich, is I want them to compete. And if you remember what I talked about in our last signing day meeting, by no means am I saying our guys aren't competitive. You saw it. They're very competitive. But what I think helps build a program or a team is when guys are pushed. So I don't want the mentality of guys coming in thinking they're going to be redshirted. I want them to push people. And I want, whether it's our backup quarterback pushing Phil or our backup wide receiver pushing Zay or an incoming freshman pushing whoever, I want to create competition. The best teams I've been around, it's whether you're in the weight room, whether you're running a sprint, whether you're doing a bench press or doing a drill in football. I want guys to compete. So what this does, it gives us more competition in the offseason. It gives us time for these guys to develop and try to get on the field early as freshmen, right? Because now they're going to go through the weightlifting. They're going to go through a spring ball. Then they're going to go through a camp. So some of these freshmen might be ready to help us play next year. Now, maybe not. It also gives our other guys, this is our first full off season together. So it gives our guys a chance to go out and show what they can do. So I'm pumped that they're all here.
We'll go next to Dan.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good, Dan. What's up?
Hey, living the dream. I remember, I think it was after the early signing period, that day when it was released and all those guys came in, but I think Drew Kendall might've signed after the early signing period. Him in particular, just cause didn't get a chance to, ask or talk to you about anything like that. I think he's something like the highest rated or close to the highest rated recruit or something along those lines. But for you, what drew him to you? How did that develop, and what's it like getting him in?
One of the first guys I met when I got here. Talked about recruiting local guys. I mean, he's the definition of that. Was ranked the number one player in the state of Massachusetts, in the top, 5 or 6 at his position in the country. Could have went anywhere from Michigan to Stanford to Penn State. We need to keep the best players in this state home. And some people said we couldn't do it. And we proved that we could. And I appreciate Drew for giving us the opportunity to recruit him and showing him what we had to offer. And I think it's a sign, Dan, to the recruits in the 2022 and 2023 and 2024, the local guys. The best kid in the state stayed home. The kid with the Michigan Stanford offer chose to come here rather than go there. And sometimes that's a hard decision, right? And he had the courage to say, I want to go to Boston College. What drew me to him? One, he's a phenomenal human being, very intelligent, great personality. I think the world of him and his family. Got to know them in the process. And that was a tough recruitment, Dan. I mean, that one went until the Friday after signing day at about 4:00. And I still think it was a battle right up until that phone call, truthfully. And then when he finally called and committed and signed, that was a big one. And I think it says a lot about what our staff did. I think Coach Applebaum did a phenomenal job in his recruitment as well. But it should show these other recruits what's coming, and it should create some excitement around the area. And I'm really pumped and grateful that he's here. He's already here, and he looks great. And I think he's going to be a heck of a football player. So I'm very fired up about him.
We'll go next to Justin Rowland.
Hey, Coach. Yeah, it's good to speak with you. Normally it's Andy speaking, but it's good to connect. And I was curious, with COVID impacting what you guys are able to do as far as getting out on the road and doing recruiting regions and things, how much did that change how you're able to grow the map this year? You see guys from Texas, guys from Alabama, guys from Georgia. How much did it impact that? And does it shape your thinking, the reception that you got from people in those places, and maybe the kind of audience you can get from those kids in the South and other places in more conventional recruiting years, I guess?
Yeah, no, just looking, Justin, I think that's an awesome question. I'm glad you asked me. We got 4 from Virginia, 3 from Illinois, 3 from Mass, 3 from Jersey, 2 from Bama, 2 from Georgia, 2 from Texas. When I got this job, I knew BC was one of the best academic schools in the entire country. I didn't realize how powerful the brand was until we started to recruit from California to Alabama to Georgia to Texas. And maybe it helped that we were at home and having to comb through tape and get to know coaches and players through Zoom. But the brand is very powerful. I mean, when you're combined a Power 5 school who should compete every year in the ACC with one of the best academic reputations in all of America, we need to go out and recruit nationally to find those student athletes who value academics, who value, what Boston College is all about, men and women for others, and just the overall culture that we're building. So we're not going to limit ourselves and just say we're only recruiting the Northeast or we're only recruiting this area. Yeah, I want to recruit New England harder and evaluate it harder than anybody. But then we're going to go out and find people that fit us because it is a powerful brand. And I'm very, very excited about that going forward.
We'll go back to Kevin.
Coach, your schedule came out the other day, and obviously media and fans will look at it and say, there's a win here, there's a win there. I'm curious if there's any part of you that does that as well, or is it just, we are locked in on week 1 as soon as it comes out?
Well, we were picked 15th in the ACC last year, Kevin. So everybody had us, when they looked at our schedule last year, everyone had a loss next to our name, right? So I don't do that. You can't. Like, I don't know what spring ball is going to look like. I don't know what training camp's going to look like. I've talked to you guys about doing the best we can every single day and giving it our all. And whether it's to open up against Colgate or to play UMass or to play Clemson or to play Virginia Tech on a Friday night, if we don't approach every minute like that, then we're not doing our job. So for me to look at paper and say, went last year, it was loss, and it didn't turn out that way. So I've learned as a head coach, if I get caught up in that stuff, it's not going to go very well. And I'm not going to stay true to who I am and what we believe. So I'm just excited I got to see a schedule, and I'm hoping that this year that is the schedule we're going to get to play, Kevin, because the original one I was given last year, we didn't even get to play. So no, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to playing some teams I've never coached against before. I'm excited that we have an SEC opponent coming here. I think that's so awesome for the fans and for Boston College. I know Missouri is going to be a really good football team, and I'm just pumped.
We'll go back to Rich.
Hey, Coach, I was talking to several G5 coaches, and this year they deliberately under-recruited to look for players in the portal, put a lot of scholarships in their back pocket. From what you said earlier, that doesn't sound like your philosophy. How do you weigh the difference of going after bringing in high school kids as opposed to finding established kids in the portal?
Well, I think you got to look at a lot of things in the portal, Rich. Why are they leaving? Was it because they didn't like it there? Was it because they didn't fit in there? Was it because they weren't playing there? Was it because they weren't treated fairly there? You got to look at the portal in a lot of different ways. Like I said, I'm not opposed to the portal. I've proven that, right? From Phil to a bunch of other players that we brought in to guys that have come here this year. I do believe that we want to build this thing, and we want to sustain it over a long period of time. And if we keep going out and getting a guy who only has a year left here or 2 years left here, eventually it's going to be hard to replace those guys. And you're not going to build the guy that knows the culture, knows the scheme, has been here for 3, 4, 5 years. I want to build this thing the right way, and I want it to be successful over time. And maybe I'm wrong, but I want to do it by recruiting high school players that we believe fit, develop them, and hopefully by their senior year, they're some of the best players in the ACC. That's just my belief. Now, going into the portal and picking up a couple kids each year where we need it, hopefully there'll be less and less for us, but we'll see. But that's why I'm not going to be a guy that says we have 25 scholarships and I'm only giving 12 to high school players and saving 13 for portal guys. I don't want to build it that way.
We got time for 2 more. First with Dan.
Coach, back to the whole thing with the local kids and the branding. I think that's super interesting because if you look up here and nationally and trying to keep kids here or whatever along those lines, I'm curious how you are able to establish the brand locally, because there are no other real power conference schools. I think the closest one might be Syracuse, and then you get down to the rest of the Mid-Atlantic. So for you, how difficult is it to balance kids looking nationally when you're the only power school up here versus establishing yourself as the power school in your backyard?
I mean, I think it's the product we put on the field. It's how they fit in, with our coaching staff. I think it's showing them maybe they know Boston College because they live close to it, but showing them what Boston College is really about. It's one of the best academic schools in the entire country, right? It's internships galore. If you come here and you have the city of Boston right down the road and all the connections that we can actually open up for you, it's the level of football we play, and it's going to be the level that we can compete at. I mean, if you look again, Dan, if you look this year, Casey Finney decommitted from Michigan, and I don't know how many times that's been done. Local kid, Owen McGowan could have went to Stanford. He chose to stay here when he could have went there. Drew Kendall could have went anywhere really in the country, and he chose to stay home. Now, is every kid, Dan, locally going to want to stay home? No, some kids might want to go away, but we need to show them that everything that they want to accomplish in their lives, win a championship, get an unbelievable degree, be around great people, have a chance to go and be developed to play in the National Football League. That's all right here. It's everything. And it's why I want to be here, and it's why I'm so excited. And it's why it means so much to me that when I name those 3 guys who stayed home, I mean, that says a lot. It sends a message to the next class and the class after that, hey, these guys are taking a look. We probably need to take a strong look too and come and check us out. And hopefully when the fans come back and the students can come to games and they see the energy, Dan, whether it's you or Rich yelling in the stands or the people from the mods walking in and getting excited, I want them to see that and feel that. And that's what I'm counting on next year, so we don't have to play in front of some cardboard cutouts.
We'll wrap things up with Trevor.
So today is National Women and Females in Sports Day. I'm curious if you can speak to just, any female role models you've had over the years that have inspired you in sports and just the role that women play in the program.
Well, the one female that inspires me more than anyone I've ever been around is my mom. She's the one who constantly took me everywhere. And I'm not talking about from her as a playing standpoint, but coming to all my games, bringing me to all my games, making sure I was everywhere on time. So that's my role model as a woman is my mother. I'm sure there's some others that on the top of my head, but if I didn't say her, she'd probably be very mad at me because she's probably going to watch this. So I'm going to stick with that one.
Jeff, thank you very much for all your time today.
One quick thing. Did Jaden cross over with DJ Uigalea? I don't even know, the Clemson kid at St. John Bosco? Did that come up in the conversation?
They must have been there together because DJ is a true freshman and Jaden, they were probably senior freshmen, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Dynamic, something to look forward to. And
Rich, I'm sure J-Bomb will give you a chance eventually to talk to him. That's a good question to ask him.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. It's good to see y'all.